Thames or Kenner?
Yeah. So they must know their stuff.
Do you know where Kenner's at?
No. Is it down south, like middle Louisiana maybe?
Oh,
I don't know.
All I know.
It sounds very familiar, but probably only because we've done stock market and probably competed against them before.
We should have bought more American Airlines.
Okay. Let me go through this lesson, and then for those that are not here, I'm going to put the worksheet on the screen so that they can do that on their paper. So, because I did not get them their stuff before we left. This is lesson 4. Again, I think we'll have a quiz on Thursday, review on Wednesday. Okay, here is our first problem. Oh, I knew that was going to happen. Can't be a Monday without the thing messing up. Oh my word, this is about to drive me crazy. Now, our first problem, we are going to start graphing. Yes, you can graph on your calculator, but we're not learning that yet. I promise I will get to that, but you have plenty of time. You need to be able to do this without a calculator as well. So the first problem that they give us, and look, I've got a graph stamp and that you can use on your paper. I have like an entire stack over there of graph paper that you can use if you need it. But then the little stamp is over there by that little plant. You can just stamp it on your paper, and then there's a graph on yours about this size. Okay, so the first thing that they give us is y equals negative 2x plus 1. That's our equation. Okay, notice in our equation we have an x value and a y value. All right, an ordered pair, what is in an ordered pair that you learn in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade? An x value and a y value. I mean, they give us an x and a y. An ordered pair has an x and a y, right? Doesn't an ordered pair look like this? Yes? Where you graph it on here? Guess what? That's what we're going to do. And you can pick a few numbers for x. I don't care what numbers. I keep them small. Like -1, 0, 1. Those will be your most common. Say that you hate negatives. What number can you start with? 0. How about let's pick 0, 1, and 2. You have to have 2 points. You'll learn this in geometry. 2 points make a line. But for this, for practice, we're going to have 3. Okay? So I'm going to make a little table. We had tables last week. And I'm going to pick 3 numbers for x. I'm going to pick 0, 1, 2. Is everybody okay with that? It doesn't matter. You could pick 1, 2, 3. You could pick -3, -2, -1 if you like negatives. All right? Whatever your 3 numbers are, put them right here. Then what am I going to do with that number? I have to find y. This says x is 0. So what am I going to do with that x? Put a 0. Everybody understand that? That's not going to say -2 times x plus 1. Now it's going to say -2 times 0 plus 1. And if you're terrible at math, you're using a calculator, okay? Because we have graduated to calculator usage. So I will plug in -2, what did I say is next? Times 0, then what? Plus 1. And what's my answer? 1. Is everybody okay with that? I plugged in 0 and I got 1. It's kind of like the function rule. You put something in the little function machine and that's what it spits out. Okay, it spit out a 1. What's my next number I'm going to plug in? Well, I picked 1. All right, so I'm going to put -2 times 1 plus 1. Is everybody okay where I'm getting these numbers? Yes? Okay. And I get, what's my next answer? -1. So I'm going to put that on my table. What's the next thing I'm going to plug in? 2. It's going to say -2 times 2 plus 1. And it gives me -3. Now what do I do with all these ordered pairs? I plot them on my graph. Is everybody okay with that? And then this is going to be my equation. This is a linear equation, so it's going to make a straight line. So if I plot these points, I would go over 0 and up 1. What's my next one? Over 1 and down 1. What's my next one? Over 2 and down 3. That goes back to middle school math. Graphing dots, okay, points on a graph. Okay, and then we would draw our straight line as best as you can. A ruler makes it better. I'm looking for that table and those 3 points. Do we understand this? Watch, I'll show you this. This is pretty cool. Okay, it says y equals negative 2x plus 1. For those that have this calculator, what's that top left button say? Y equals, right? So if I press it, it says y equals, and what would I type? Negative 2x plus 1. Negative 2x plus 1. Now watch me graph it. Boom. I get the same thing. Now, here's the thing. Yeah, you can use your calculator, but if you randomly draw a picture on this graph, it's wrong. If I was looking at my calculator and I was looking at my paper and I did this right here, I have, where are your points, right? That's 0 points. So that's 0 credit. What you have to do is make a table. What does this blue word right here say? Table. So you would press the blue button and then that one. And you can scroll up and down and guess what you have? The same points that I do. What goes with 0? 1. What goes with 1? Negative 1. What goes with 2? Negative 3. So see, your calculator will do it all for you as well. This is kind of what you learn later. But you need to know how to just pick 3 numbers. That's easy. Pick 3 numbers, plug them in using the calculator, and plot your points. Is everybody good with that? You can always use this and check yourself. Or it'll give you your table. Okay, let's do another one. Let's switch around. I'll do y equals 1/2 x minus 1. Okay, so I'm going to pick some numbers for x. Now, bless you. Who hates decimals? Everybody, just about, yeah. So if I take half of some of the numbers, it's going to give me decimals. And if you don't want decimals, then careful how you pick your numbers. If you count by 2s, then you won't have decimals. Does everybody understand that? Because what's half of 2? 1. What's half of 4? 2. Whew, I hope y'all are just tired. What's half of 6? 3. What's half of 8? 4. See how we didn't end up with decimals? What's half of 3? Did you just end up with a decimal? Yeah. So you can pick, like I said, it doesn't matter. I would pick 0, 2, 4 for my numbers. But it doesn't matter. You can get decimals. I promise you can plot a decimal on a graph. If it said 1/3, guess what numbers I'd count by? 3s, right? If it said 1/4, what numbers would I count by? Probably 4s, if I don't want decimals. Okay, so if I plug these in, so I'm going to say 1/2 times, my first number is 0, minus 1. And I get a negative 1 again. All right, now let me try half of 2. 1/2 times 2 minus 1. I get 0. My calculator's in the way. Okay, and then my last one, 1/2 of 4 minus 1. And I get 1. And then I can plot these 3 points. So I would go, this one right here is over 0, down 1. This one is over 2, and then don't go up or down any. And that one is over 4, and up 1. And here's this line. This line is going up. Do we understand how to graph? Yeah? Have we all done this before? Yeah? Okay, good. Really quick on your calculator, for those who like that, you can do 1/2 x minus 1. All right? That you just press y equals, because that's what they have is y equals, and you type that part in. And when you graph it, well, there's your picture, but you need your table. So you press second graph or second table, and here's all your numbers. Look, we got some of the same ones. See how they got the decimals though? You could just skip around like we did and pick 0, 2, 4 or whatever you wanted. We get the same answers. Does everybody understand that? Yeah? All you have to do is type it in your calculator and it gives you all your table of values. Pick 3 numbers and there it is. Okay. That is our first problem. How are we with that? Is everybody good? That's going to be problem 1 on your paper. Now let's keep moving on. Actually, okay, yeah, I do have some of these. All right. The next one says they want us to graph. I'm trying to match it. Which the good thing is, I think on this one, it's multiple choice. So it won't be difficult to graph it. There's one that's a little difficult. Okay. Here we go. I'm going to put this up. It gives you your answer already, but we're just going to kind of go through it together. I'm going to zoom in. It's a word problem. All right, you're going to have one just like this, but it's the same thing. You're graphing, and it says, okay, this function rule is going to tell you the total weight in pounds of a concrete mixer truck that's carrying concrete. So the capacity is about 200 cubic feet. What's a graph of the function? So if the capacity is 200, it can't go over capacity. Does everybody understand that? Right? Because if you're talking about people like in a stadium, max capacity, you can't have more than that allowing in there. Anyway, so you would start at 0. Can you have negative amounts in a concrete truck? No, doesn't make sense. So you would pick some numbers starting at 0, and you're going to go to 200. So what numbers did they pick? 0, and then they counted by 50s. Do you want to write 200 numbers down? Me neither. 50 is excellent choice. 0, 50, 100, 150, 200. So what do they do with those numbers? They plug them in to their equation. That's it. They type in their calculator. 146 times 0 plus 30,000. And they get 30,000. Does everybody understand that? Then they plug in 50. So then they plugged in 100 and keep going. Here's all, they have 5 ordered pair. Is everybody good with these ordered pair? Yeah? Do we understand this? Yes? Okay. You're not going to pick 0, 1, 2, 3 on this one. Okay? It doesn't make sense for the word problem. Now, then you're going to graph it. So they had a graph on here, and you would just write your numbers. Okay? These numbers over here are going from, they basically go up to 60,000. If you look, so we're going to go from 0 to 60,000. These numbers go from 0 to 200. And you just plot your points. Is everybody okay with that? Okay, that's it. That's all there is to that one. It's the same thing. It's just a word problem. Okay. Questions? No? We're good? We're good with this? The next thing talks about a continuous function or a discrete. So continuous graph or discrete graph. Continuous means it goes on and on forever. Like say that I go in and I go to the grocery store and I'm buying some vegetables. Can I buy like a half a pound of vegetables or 1.5 pounds? Or on the scale, can't I buy like 1.75 pounds? I don't know if y'all have ever gone to a grocery store. You can. You don't have to buy exactly 1 pound. It's never going to be exactly 1 pound. Does that make sense, what I'm saying? You can buy like numbers that are decimals like that. 1.3 pounds. Say you weigh some bananas. It might be 1.3 pounds of bananas. Okay, say that I'm buying records. Can you buy 1.5 records? No. Okay, records would be a discrete graph. You cannot buy pieces. It's not continuous. Something like buying fruits or vegetables would be continuous. Does that make sense? If you're talking people, it's discrete. Can you have 1.5 kids over? No. All right, doesn't make sense. That's discrete. It's steps up to the next. So the first question says, a local cheesemaker is making cheddar cheese to sell at a farm. The amount of milk used to make the cheese and the price for which he sells it are shown. Write a function for each situation. Is it continuous or discrete? So it says a gallon of milk makes, 16 ounces of cheese. Okay, 1 gallon of milk makes 16 ounces of cheese. So look, I'm just going to move it up and show you our graphs. So you can start out with not making cheese at all. You can have 0 gallons of milk. We're not doing anything today. You're going to end up with 0 ounces of cheese. Is everybody good with that? You can use 1 gallon of milk and it's going to make 16 ounces of cheese. If you use 2 gallons of milk, what's that going to be? 32 ounces of cheese, and so on. You can probably even use 1.5 gallons of milk. Have y'all ever done a recipe and you halved it? Yes? So that one is continuous, and that's what it's going to show right here. It's a continuous function because you can take 1.5 gallons of milk. All right? So this one is continuous. If you use 0, 0. If you went 1, it went up to 16. 2, up to 32. All right, now let's look at this little situation. It says each wheel of cheese costs $9. If you have this packaged and you're saying it's $9, all right, this one is discrete because is somebody going to ask you, can I just buy half that cheese? You've already got it packaged. Are you going to just go cut it in half and sell them half of it? No. That would be like Annalise when she sold tea cakes this weekend. Was she going to cut one in half because somebody only had $1? No, you don't sell it. So that is discrete because you have to sell the whole thing. It's $9. So you could sell 0 and make $0. You can sell 1 and make $9. 2 and you make how much? 18. Anyway, this one is why it skips. It's discrete because you can't sell pieces of it. Do we get this? Yeah? Okay. Then the last part, this is probably the hardest part. All right. We have graphs now, and you can do these on your calculator. These are weird. This is what you're going to learn way more soon in the next chapter. And I think I only have like one or maybe a few of these on there. Well, I'll just zoom into one. This one down here, we learn like in chapter 8. This is called a parabola. Does this make a straight line? No. It's because of that x squared. Does this one make a straight line? No, it's making a V. It's because of the absolute value. So again, these we actually learn later, but this is what happens. You pick some numbers and like say that let's just pick -2, 0, and 2. If I pick -2, what's the absolute value of -2? Does anybody know it? What is the absolute value of -2? 2. So you end up with 2 minus 4. Right there, that's my equation. And you get -2. If you plugged in 2, what's the absolute value of 2?
2.
Also 2. And you get the same answer. Right here, -2 and -2. That's what's making the V. Remember, a normal line goes like this, but all the negative values are changed to positive. So what does it end up making? A V.
Can you show me the like the little chart for the continuous one again?
Oh yeah, which one? Back at the beginning or
so
the last problem?
The discrete chart with the 0 and the 0 and the 1 and the 9 and the 2 and the 18.
Hold on.
When you talk about the cookies?
This one?
Yes, Mom. I just need to.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll let you write that down. Then we'll get back to the other one. Oops.
Okay, I got it. Thank you.
All right. So this one, what you're going to do is plug in values. Let me just do part B without showing you this. This one says y equals, I'm going to move this in just a second, x squared plus 1. All right. This one, whenever they're not just an x, you kind of need to pick some negative numbers. Okay. I'm going to, for now, I'll pretend like I didn't pick -1, and we'll pick 0, 1, and 2. So if I plug in 0, all right, I would get 0 squared plus 1. And make sure you type that in correct. 0 squared plus 1. And it's 1. Now let's type in 1 squared. 1 squared plus 1. 2 squared plus 1. All right. Now, let me just type in negative 1 squared. So I would do negative 1 in parentheses. You have to be careful with a negative. All right. You have to put it in parentheses. And it's 2. So if I was to graph this one, it does not make a straight line because of the x squared. Again, you learn this way later. But you would go over negative 1 up 2. Right now we're just picking numbers and plugging them in. 0, 1, over 1 and up 2, over 2 and up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. It makes that U shape. That's a parabola. Are we okay with this? If I hadn't done the negative, this is what it would have looked like. And that's not right. That's why on these, it's very important to pick a negative number. So it'll show you, oh, it makes a U. That's not a V. That one's like more of a U. Watch. Let's graph it because that's what's nice about your calculator. I would type in X. If you don't know where the X is, it's by a green button. And then you press the squared button plus 1. And then it shows you. There it is. And then if you want the table, what do you press? Second table or second graph. And guess what? Here's a bunch of numbers to put. There you go. Does everybody kind of get this? Maybe, yes. All right, let's go back to the absolute value one. We'll do that one with on my paper and with the calculator. I'll make it up. I'll do one a little bit different than theirs. Let's do the absolute value of x. We'll do minus 2. That's not the same one. No, I did minus 4. So what I would do is pick some numbers. And again, I really need a negative number when it's like that. So you can do this on your calculator. Watch, if you press the math button and you go over 1, what's this word right here? Abs, for absolute value. And then I would just type in negative 1. Now go outside of the absolute value and press minus 2. And guess what it gives you for your answer? Negative 1. Okay? Let's do it again. Let's plug in 0. The absolute value, or you don't even have to use that. The absolute value of 0 is 0 minus 2. The absolute value of 1 is 1 minus 2. And then the absolute value of 2 minus 2. And then we could plot those points. And it makes a V. Negative 1, over 0 down 2, over 1 down 1, and over 2 there. This one is a V. How else can you do this? You can press what on your calculator? Y equals. Okay? Watch, if I press Y equals, there is, again, the absolute value button. You press math and go over 1. The absolute value of x minus, what did I say? 2. Oops. And then if I graph it, there it is. If I go to my table, here it is. All my answers. And just a big hint, what you'll see is this is moved down 2. That's what the minus 2 does. Instead of it starting at 0, it just moves it down 2. So do we feel good about this? Yes, maybe? Okay. I'll give you your paper, and then while you go through it, I'll show those that are not here their paper. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. I think, did I give somebody? No, here it is. Here you go, Lisa. Okay. here's number 1. This is for those that aren't here. Graph that. So you need to make a table, okay? I may even put that over here. X, Y, and you'll need to pick some numbers and graph. Okay? Number 2, for those that aren't here. This one you just see what numbers you plug in and then see which answer choice matches. There's the question. Oops. Taxi company can go a maximum of 40 miles. What's the graph of the function? Charges passengers $1 for a ride plus an additional 30% for each mile traveled. I meant 30 cents. I don't know what I said. And then here's these graphs. Which graph matches? This one, oh, it says write a function. That just means a little equation. Like y equals $11 per DVD. How would you write that? Or actually, they want you to use C equals. C and N. Everybody look up here on this one. Number 3, usually we use Y and X, but what 2 letters do they want you to use? Y equals, and instead of X, C equals, and then instead of X, we use what? N. And it's $11 per DVD. How do you write that? 11, what? If you buy 1 DVD, how much is it, y'all? They're $11 each. If you buy 1 DVD, how much is it? $11. If you buy 2, how much is it? So what are you doing? You're multiplying. It's just 11 times N. That's your answer. C equals 11N. And then you're going to say if it's discrete or continuous. Can you buy pieces of it? That's what it means. Okay? This one's the same thing. It talks about roasted peanuts per pound. Can you buy half a pound? That's what you're asking. Remember, continuous, you can buy pieces. Discrete, you cannot buy a piece of like a record, if you were talking about records. Okay, number 5 looks like this. I'll show the other answer choices, which you could probably just pick it out. I don't know, some of you probably could without. You can just graph it on your calculator if you wanted. If you knew how to type it in. Okay. Number 6 is weird. It's a little different. It's got a skinnier graph. Look at your table, make a table, and then see which one matches. And number 7. And remember, you have today and tomorrow to do this.
Miss Amanda,
Uh-huh.
what do I do if the number I'm getting is too big for the graph?
Pick a smaller number.
I did, and I went too small and I got -6.
Then you can just kind of go off the graph. What number is it?
Number 1.
Hold on, let me go to it.
Am I doing too many numbers? I did 4 numbers.
Yeah, you only need 3.
I'm sorry.
Can you pick like any numbers? I'm confused.
Yeah. When it's not just, when it's got an x squared or the absolute value, you want to pick a negative and positive numbers. But when it's just an x, like number 1 is, then you can just pick 0, 1, 2. Or pick whatever numbers you want. I keep them smaller. That's number 8. And then the last one, number 9, you actually have to graph. Number 9, please make sure that you label your X and Y axis. Okay? So if it's talking about computers and X hours of labor, then you need to put 0, 1, 2, 3 for your X values because that's what they have for your X values. And then these numbers, make sure you put what you're counting by. And you'll just plug them in here. They kind of kept it easy on that one. But just write your numbers so I know what they are on the side.
This part over here, I would do 3 times 0
Minus 2. And you can just type that in your calculator.
The answer all I do is
And the
just write.
answer goes in the Y.